What's up, guys? T-Rex with House Rules Gaming here. So on Wednesday, May 29th, EA lifted the embargo for all of the media members that got to come down and try out the new college football game. And with that embargo lifted, we got a lot of interesting nuggets to discuss around the features and game modes that were talked about by EA to those media members. They invited different media outlets like On3 and Matt Brown with Extra Points, as well as quite a few known content creators that play this game religiously. Which, I'm not gonna lie, the first little nugget of information that came across my screen made me highly upset. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But there was so much information that came out, I just couldn't put it all into one video. So we're gonna consider this part 1 out of 4, breaking down all of the information that we received in the different blogs. So without further ado, let's start off with part 1, going over Road to Glory. So full disclosure here. So as excited as I was for this game to be making its highly anticipated return, which I still am by the way, but EA completely fumbled Road to Glory this year. And yes, absolute pun intended. So I was working my regular job when the blogs first came out, and the first thing that I see is that the high school portion of Road to Glory will not be included in the first year's iteration of this game. And guys, I don't care how you spin it to me, that sucks. And while yes, that was not part of the earlier games like the 2006s to I believe 2011, 2008, somewhere around there, but literally from 2012 to 2014, now I could have these years mixed up, but those last few iterations of the game, we got that in there as an absolute baseline. They should have gone off of what we had featured in that last game for Road to Glory and brought it over to the new console. The entire premise of the Road to Glory mode was to give you the experience of a collegiate athlete, and part of that experience is playing high school football and being noticed enough to receive scholarship offers from Division I programs. That's just a complete miss to me, honestly, because what they chose to replace it with is just not it, which I'll get to that in a second because I definitely have more to say on this. Now, the devs stated that they expect this to be a 10 to 20 hour experience, which in my opinion, that's pretty short for a career mode in the game. And I've already stated in numerous videos before that this mode was always too short for my liking. It just lacked the amount of depth that a career mode should have, because I'm just not a fan of Madden. I don't want to have to move my guy over to Madden in order to be able to play a longer career for him. And I know I'm not the only one that will only buy this college football game and not buy Madden this year, or in the future for that matter, which is one of my inherent problems with there not being a high school portion to this game mode this year. But I digress. They stated that they used that 10 to 20 hour experience mark for this to be a repeatable experience where you can go back and play this mode over again, make different choices, and potentially get different outcomes throughout the game. Now, just based on the lack of the high school experience and some of the choices that they made to implement instead of that, I really don't see myself playing this mode more than twice. I'll probably do one offensive playthrough and one defensive playthrough, which that was another gripe of mine, because your cover athlete is literally a two-way athlete. Why is that not an option for us? And on that same note, what in the world are these position limits? They only give us the option to play as a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a middle linebacker, and a cornerback. Now, I have seen some other people mention that it's possible that that last spot is supposed to be defensive back, not necessarily just a corner, because I really don't see the point in giving us the option to play as a middle linebacker but not a safety. But I would have liked to see tight end be an option, especially with how prominent that position is now. But not having edge rusher or outside linebacker, or presumably the safety positions in the game, is a complete miss. Now, to be honest, those are pretty much the only negative things I have to say about all of the information that we got in the blogs. And also, this is year one of the game coming back, so I'm going to give them some grace on this. But I would absolutely like to see that stuff changed by the time this thing comes out next year. But instead of having the high school portion in there, they allow us to pick our star rating. And along with picking your star rating, there are overall limits that would you start with. Unfortunately, I don't have that information in front of me at the moment, but those star ratings will affect the schools that you get offers from and your standing coming into the program as well, which I don't like that. Why am I setting my rating, from jump? I want to earn my rating, whether that be I work hard to try to earn myself a 5-star, or I purposefully tank my high school season to get down to a 1 or 2-star athlete. Or at the very least, man, just give us the option. And I know there's some guys that don't really like playing the high school portion. They just want to hurry up and get to the action in college. But I've seen online a lot of the other creators out there and fans of this game really wanted that high school portion. The guys that wanted to skip over it were absolutely in the minority here. But I think a happy medium would have at least been, if you're not going to give us the high school games, give us some 7-on-7 tournaments or something like that if you're playing as a skill position. I mean, those are literally the only spots that you gave us anyway to play as. So I don't see what would have been the problem in giving us some 7-on-7s to maybe determine our star rating that way. Or even like some of the brand camps, like the Nike camps and stuff like that. You got guys like CJ Stroud that went to the Nike Elite 11, not getting recruited at all, to coming out as the camp MVP and securing a scholarship to Ohio State. Or give us some on-campus camps at different schools that we want to attend. Like have us pick a list of schools that we might want to try out for or might think about attending. We make that list and we get to participate in camp drills at those schools in order to earn a rating. All of these would have been better alternatives as to just simply, here you go, just pick your star rating and go on to the next step. So there's 14 different, I don't know if you would call them pitch grades, or I know the term of deal breakers have been thrown around a lot, that you get to pick from, and that also determines the school schools that will offer you or not. One of the prime examples that they gave was somebody in the Road to Glory chose academics being one of their deal breakers. So that meant they would get offers from schools like Vanderbilt and Stanford, where those types of things are really important to even get accepted into that school. Now, this was something that was a plus, in that they are bringing back the GPA system from 2011, but not quite in the same way. Instead of them having random pop quizzes and tests that you got to sit there and Google the answer to on the fly, it's really an hours dedication or allocation system that's in place. You have to dedicate a certain amount of hours throughout the week to studying to maintain your GPA so that you can maintain eligibility on the team. But it's not all superficial as far as just maintaining eligibility. There's also going to be potential boosts that come with maintaining that GPA. And when I say boosts, I mean boosts to your on-field performance. But it's also important to balance those hours on other off-the-field things like training, teammate activities, and your overall health throughout the college football season. And speaking of health, there's a new health management system that you do have to monitor, as your body will take wear and tear throughout the season, and you need to get the appropriate rest and take care of your body in order to reduce injury risk and stat reductions. Now, this is something that was included that I actually do have a problem with, but I'm gonna go on and explain what it is first, and then I'll kind of go over what my issue is with it afterwards. So they did implement NIL into Road to Glory, which one of the things that you have to maintain throughout your college career is your brand presence and your fan following. Your following will help you secure those NIL deals, and those NIL deals lead to game boosts and performance, as well as benefit you when you decide to enter a transfer portal. One NIL deal that they used as an example was there's a cryotherapy company that if you sign a deal with them, that'll help you reduce your recovery time throughout the season. Now, here's my issue. This actually was not necessary for them to implement. And I know it took a lot of resources for them to try to figure this out to fit it into the game. But I would rather have not had this whole NIL system put in, and even the academics to some extent, if that meant that they could have put those same resources to allowing us to play in high school and play as more positions in the game. But I believe the position limits are actually more so tied to Madden than they are this game particularly. Because if I'm not mistaken, Madden Superstar Mode has these same position limits when creating your character in the game. And since you can transfer your player from college football to Madden, I don't see these position limits changing until they decide to change it also on Madden side. But how they implemented NIL was cool. I'm not complaining about the execution of it. I just think it was pointless. So something I just touched on was the transfer portal, which that will open up to you as a player every single offseason. And not only does the transfer portal open up, but the coaching carousel affects Road to Glory as well this time around. So when you decide to enter the transfer portal, that will reintroduce the entire recruiting system that you went through when you were first selecting your college all over again. And schools will have the opportunity to come after you based on your deal breakers and your current performance after this last season. Now, coach changes can affect your trust with the new coach if your school just so happens to hire one. But the plus with the transfer portal allows you to follow your old coach to his new school and keep your coach trust intact. So what do you guys think about all the stuff that was announced? Do you think we needed the high school portion in this game mode? Or was it time to switch it up and try something new? You guys know my feelings on it, but I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. And while you guys are down there, please do me a favor and like the video. And please make sure that you're subscribed so you can take part in the giveaway. The bingo we were doing, although fun, ended up being a no-go with some of the misses that they had. But I'm still going to try to give away some copies, and here's how we're going to do it. If we can get the channel to 500 subscribers, I'll give away one. But we need to get to 500 before the release of the game. And if we can get the channel up to 1,000, I'll go ahead and give away 2 copies. So again, we'll give away 1 copy at 500 subscribers, and we'll give away 2 at 1,000. And stay tuned to check out part 2, as that'll be dropping a lot sooner than you think. My goal is to get all of these things out prior to the gameplay reveal trailer. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay blessed, and I'm out of here.